everyone, welcome to Making Things with String. My name is Kate, my pronouns are she, her, and this is my Crafty YouTube channel that you have stumbled upon. Welcome back. If you've been a viewer of my channel before, you might have noticed it's been a couple months almost since my last video. Things have been pretty busy for me this year so far. So yeah, I'm not finding as much time to sit down and record videos as I have been in the past, which is totally fine. I'm still doing some crafting, and where's my little notebook? So what I've been doing since that last video is I have taken a couple clips of things that have been going on along the way, and so I'm gonna try and like intersperse them and kind of chronologically go through those clips that I have taken. So it'll be sort of a mix of like some clips, some vlog style stuff, and then a traditional recording Flosstube like what I usually do, although you'll notice I'm in a bit of a different spot today. I'm in my living room. I recently rearranged my living room so that the light is facing this couch that I sit on, and I also rearranged the bedroom where I normally film. And I just thought that the lighting in here would be conducive to floss tubing. So we're going to try it out. Okay. So the first thing that I want to show, I'm going to overlay some footage here that I took of a project that I designed and fully stitched and fully finished. Hi everyone. Just wanted to take a little clip of this piece that I have started and fully finished, and I truly mean started because this is a little chart that I designed. So it's my second design if you're paying attention. In my last video I showed off my Stitch North goose, and yesterday I designed and stitched this little baby mouse. This is going to be a baby shower gift for one of my coworkers who is pregnant, and I had been looking for a small little chart to stitch for her, and I wanted it to be a mouse. We have some furry friends in some of our office spaces that show up every now and then, and I have some fond memories of a meeting that I had with this coworker that involved a mouse in her office, and it was just kind of, yeah, she's a little bit afraid of mice. So to me, hopefully she finds this funny as well, but I wanted a cute little curled up baby mouse. And so yeah, I designed this. I stitched it on a 32 count, I believe it's sage green Lugana, and I just used some DMC threads. If you're interested in knowing more, I will be kind of turning this into a pattern and making it available in the same way that I did with my Stitch North goose. But yeah, I just finished it on this little 4-inch hoop, tied a ribbon around the top, and on the back I sort of laced it underneath here, pulled it taut, and then I put some felt onto a little piece of cardstock and hot glued that to the back here. So that is my little pattern called Baby Mouse. I think it's pretty cute. I like it. Hope that you like it too. And I hope that my coworker likes it. So yeah, really happy about that cute little pattern, and that's something to keep an eye out for. Like, I think I'll make it available the same way I made my goose pattern available, if you're interested in a cute little baby mouse pattern. Okay, so now I'm going to insert a little clip of a crochet project that I completed since my last video. And I have one more thing to show here. This is a little crochet tote bag that I made over the weekend. I do have a pattern for this that I purchased. I will link to that or post it on the screen here. But I had this cotton yarn. I've had it for years, and I've been continually trying to like make it into something and not really loving any of the things. So yeah, finally it is made into a little sort of market bag, tote bag kind of situation. It's just a granny stripe kind of motif with the double crochet clusters. And yeah, let me see if I can take some footage of it and overlay that here of what it looks like, you know, on a human body to give you a better idea of the size of it. But yeah, that is a little crochet tote. This is going to be a gift as well. All right, so next up, I want to insert some clips that I took from a little trip that my husband Neil and I had to take to Toronto. So this is going to be a little whip update and some knitting content. So go ahead and enjoy that. Hello there. I am just doing a bit of a check-in. I'm currently in Toronto. My husband is here to get some medical treatment, not a super fun time, but we are actually here for about a week. And I have brought a couple cross-stitch projects with me and some sock knitting. And I just thought I would update a little bit about how that has been going. It's been interesting just because I've only brought this one pattern, Abalonia's Apple Tree, as well as my Beekeeper's Pincushion, but I've only been working on Abalonia's Apple Tree so far. So as you can see, this is a chart by the Artsy Housewife, and it's very cute. And here is where I am so far. So been making a lot of progress on this. Not all of it has been here in Toronto. I was focusing on it a lot at the beginning of the month of May as well. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this now that I've done a few color swaps, which you can learn all about in my previous videos, but I am using Roxy Floss Co. Most of these colors are their color conversion that they did. I bought that pack at Stitch North last year in 2024, but I swapped a couple colors out. And yeah, I finished all of the apples on the tree. It looks amazing. And I finished the trunk of the tree recently as well. Right now I'm working my way along this bottom border, and I'm going to start the giant apple basket and leaving the fox, the rest of the fox for last. So yeah, we're stitching this 1/2 on a 36 count Panettone linen from Roxy Floss as well. And I am hoping that I will finish this project before it's time to head back home to Nova Scotia, which is why I brought one more cross-stitch project as well. Okay, so that's a little cross-stitch update, but like I said, I've been doing some knitting as well and a little bit of shopping. So I brought one pair of socks with me, and I realized the other day that I was gonna probably run out of knitting. I was almost done my second sock. So yesterday, when my husband was resting, I decided to do a little bit of exploring in Toronto, and I went shopping and got some yarn. So I'll show you the yarn that I got in just a second. The first shop that I visited was called Yarns Untangled, and that's in like the Kensington Market area. of Toronto. And I should mention that both of the yarn stores that I chose to go to were inspired by Carmen of Cardamom Pins, who recently posted an awesome video update of her trip to Toronto for Stitch North. And these two yarn stores are ones that she went to as well, and they're like fairly close together. So Yarns Untangled was the first one. And I picked up a couple skeins. So first of all, this is a Studio Riverside yarn. This is hand-dyed yarn from Quebec in Canada, and this colorway is called Corrosion. So hopefully you can see it's like a gray with some sort of rusty and darker gray / charcoal speckling in it. And to go with this for heels and toes, I picked up this little pumpkin colored mini skein from Lichen and Lace. Lichen and Lace is actually a New Brunswick yarn dyer that I can get quite easily in Halifax. So I was trying to avoid Lichen and Lace, but they had a lot of good little mini skeins from Lichen and Lace, and so that is where I found my contrast for this. And I had them skein it up for me, which they offered to do, which is really nice because I do plan to start this pair of socks while I'm still here in Toronto, and I did not bring my Yarn Swift and ball winder with me, so that's really great. The next yarn shop that I went to, I actually grabbed a little business card. The store is called Good Grief. Where is it? Dundas, that's right, it's on Dundas Street. So I got a few skeins of yarn there. I got this Northbound Knitting skein called Espresso. This is actually a BFL nylon fingering, so it's 75% superwash BFL and 25% nylon. Usually the sock yarn that I get is merino nylon, like that Riverside. That Riverside is superwash merino nylon sock. Does it not say the percentage? I guess not. Oh, 80-20. So 80-20 superwash merino and nylon. But I have knit with some BFL before, and I really liked this sort of chocolatey brown, slightly variegated. You can see here there's sort of like a deeper color and some lighter gray here. I think it'll make a nice neutral pair of socks. And then I also got a couple skeins of this Sandnesgarn Babyul Lennet Superwash. This is like a cream fingering weight yarn from Norway, and it's 100% merino wool. I am planning to use this to put together some of those granny squares that I've been crocheting with my leftover Advent yarn. I needed like a nice solid neutral to weave them together, and so yeah, these are nice. I haven't seen Sandnesgarn anywhere in Halifax, and so not the most exciting skeins of yarn, but they will be really useful. Yeah. So the last thing that I got at Good Grief, I felt like I needed to get something that they made, because they actually have a lot of their own hand-dyed yarn and a lot of like trinkets and stitch markers. Still drinking my coffee today. Stitch markers, needle stoppers, a whole bunch of cute little thingies. So I got these cactus stitch markers, which they made, and I put one of them on the pair of socks that I'm currently knitting. So I do have the ball bands for these as well. Here we go. I'm just gonna move this so that you can see the full sock while I talk about the yarn. So I've got one sock complete here. So this main colorway is another Riverside Studio hand-dyed yarn from Whitefield, Quebec. This colorway is called Trail. It's really pretty, sort of neutral, but with some little pops of yellow and blue, teal-y kind of colors. So different for me. And then this light sort of tanny brown color, taupey brown, is by Ancient Arts. It's called Secret Agent. This Socknado base is 80/20 superwash merino nylon as well. Again, so is this. I think it's the exact same base, super sock. Yeah, so I haven't shown these because I was kind of waiting to finish them up. So I finished one whole sock, and as you can see, I'm quite far into the second sock. This row is the last row of the foot of the sock, and I'm ready to knit the toe. Unfortunately, however, this will be the second time that I've knit the toe, because this is how much of the taupey Ancient Arts yarn I have left. And I tried last night because I was like, maybe this is enough to knit the toe of the sock, and it was not quite enough. So I ripped it out, and I think I do have a good amount of the Trail Riverside Studio yarn left. So I think we're just going to be knitting the toe in this same color, and then probably ripping out this toe and knitting it with the same main color. So it'll just be contrasting heels on this sock. So yeah, that was unfortunate because I was kind of looking forward to getting into these and starting my new pair of socks, but c'est la vie. Right, so we are now back home from Toronto. My husband is healing well from the procedures that he had done there. You know, like I said in the video, not a fun reason to go to Toronto, but we tried to make the best of our trip there. When I got back, I decided that I wanted to go through all of my finished cross-stitching projects. And in doing so, I decided if I'm going to be doing this, I might as well take some footage of it and show it. So I'm going to insert a clip here of me going through all of the finished cross-stitch projects I have that are not yet fully finished, and talking a little bit about those. So it's sort of a little finish parade for you. All right, we are back from Toronto, which is great news. And this is a bit of a blast from the past that you're seeing right now. What I want to do is I'm getting ready to go to a vintage pop-up at IKEA in Halifax. And I want to pick up a couple things at IKEA while I'm there. And one of the things that I've been meaning to do is take some measurements of all of the finished stitches that I have, so that while I'm out and about at places like IKEA, I can check for frames that meet my purposes. And since I am pulling out all of my finished stitches, I thought I would shoot a little video of them as well and include that in my next Flosstube video. So the vast majority of these will be things that you've seen on my channel before if you have been watching for a while, but I enjoy looking at them again, so maybe you will as well, and maybe you're new and haven't seen them before. So we'll see how good I am at remembering all the details of these projects. This one here is called Reaching Skyward. It's by Modern Folk Embroidery. It's the 2023 stitch along, and I stitched it in 2023, and I love this piece. I put some of my family's initials, so my grandparents on my mother's side and my mom's initials, grandparents on my dad's side and my dad's initials. Here's some markings from a book that had pink pages. I brought this camping with me, and that's when that happened in 2023. Oh, and I have my initials here. So yes, that is Reaching Skyward. This is done with Roxy Floss thread on a 20 count Roxy Floss Ada in porcelain, I believe. That's that one. All right, next up is two Quaker Sisters samplers, also by Modern Folk Embroidery. Also stitched with Roxy Floss on Roxy Floss Co linen. I believe this would be a 32 count linen, because I stitched this 2/2, and they don't dye this linen color anymore. I believe it was called Under the Shade or In the Shade, something like that. And yeah, so this is kind of my first and only so far Quaker design. This one here says, "For I am thine and thou art mine." This one here says, "Whoso findeth me findeth love." And I highly doubt I'll be able to find frames that just exist that fit these. Probably gonna have to get custom frames for these or figure out some kind of other way to finish them, but they are very cool. Okay, here we have Elemental Dragons Water by Ink Circles. This was stitched on an Atomic Ranch fibers fabric. Can't remember the colorway name of it, but it's this cool bluey purpley color. And I stitched it using Brennan Nettle thread. Lunasaw, I believe, is the name of that floss. And I think it's a 36 count linen that I stitched one strand over two. Look at that cute little boat in the middle. And this I stitched along with my friends Judith and Jen. Jen of Jen's Fiber Web. And Jen is currently using this as a round robin piece, so I think it will be done for her as well later this year, and I do believe that Judith finished hers too. So yeah, gotta get that framed. This is going in the bathroom. This is a Dimensions kit called Toy Shop, I believe. It's my first Dimensions kit. I really enjoyed stitching this, but it was kind of intense. It's like super full coverage plus a whole bunch of back stitching on top of it. Like, look at this bicycle. Seriously, look at the dog hairs on that bicycle. Yeah, but I love this piece, and looking forward to framing it. I just used all the kit materials for this. Look at these French knots in the tree and on the wreath. And the little snowflakes are all little French knots as well. Yeah, I enjoyed this. It was a lot of work. I think I would do another kit like this, but I'm not sure when. All right, here we have a Black Butterfly sampler. And this is by Shaded Stitchery. Beautiful chart. The fabric is a 25 count Lugana. It's called Wise Wolf. I'm not sure who the dyer is though, because I bought this at Stitch Bug in Moncton, New Brunswick, and they didn't have the dyer listed. As you can see, I finished this in 2024. And I stitched it with a Karen Waterlilies silk. That's what these butterflies are stitched in. And a General Arts chalkboard, I believe, is the other thread. They kind of look the same, but that alphabet and the butterflies are stitched in a slightly different thread. Love this one. Would love to get it framed, but it's also kind of a strange shape. It's like not as tall and skinny as the Quaker Sister samplers, but still kind of tall and skinny. It's beautiful though. Next up we have these two cuties, which are kind of annoyingly stitched in a different orientation on this little scrap. This is Clementine and Coulter the Fox from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. These were patterns from Jingle Ball. So first I stitched Clementine, and then I stitched Coulter. I would love to find a little oval frame that with like a hinge that has two sides to it that I could frame these two in together, but who knows if that exists, and if it does, if I'm likely to find it. But they are so freaking cute. Look at them. Love it. This is a Lugana 32 count, I don't know, olive green or something like that. And I stitched them 2 over 2, and they're cute. This is a bit of an oldie, but a goodie. My beach triptych. These charts were from a cross stitch magazine. I can't remember which one, but it came with a little booklet with a bunch of different sort of beach and ocean themed charts, and I stitched these 3 together. I would love to frame them and put them in one of our washrooms. One in the center says, "I lost my heart to the sea." And this is very much Nova Scotia scenery. Like, you know, you can think Peggy's Cove, even though the rocks around Peggy's Cove lighthouse are not that color, but it's like, you know, Peggy's Cove-esque. And then this really looks like the little fishing villages and stuff that are around that area as well. So very cute. I love this. It's just like a 16 or 18 count, like oatmeal Ada that I stitched that on with some DMC thread, 2 over 1. This back stitching stuff is pretty cool too. Yeah. Here's a classic from my channel. This is my finish of Needs No Paint by Heaven and Earth Designs. The art that this is based on is by Jill Clare, an indigenous artist from America. And I stitched this 2 strands over 1 on this 28 count, I believe. This is just the called for DMC, and it's so beautiful. I am going to be giving this to my mom, but I would like to frame it, so I'll take the measurements of it so that I can have those out and about with me in case I find a frame that's gigantic and will fit this. There she is. And bam, here's a new finish that you may have seen if you follow me on Instagram, but that you haven't seen here on my YouTube channel yet. This is Apollonia's Apple Tree by the Artsy Housewife. And I just like cranked this out in May. I worked almost monogamously on this to have it finished by the end of May. And so here's what it's looking like. This is on a 36 count Panettone linen by Roxy Floss, using a Roxy Floss Co. conversion for the floss. I stitched it 1 strand of thread over 2 fabric threads, and I love it and would love to get it framed up. Look at that basket. Look at that fox. Look at that little crow. Look at those apples. I love this so much. It's good. Okay, so that was all the projects that I'm looking for frames for, but I have a ton of other fully stitched pieces that I'm not gonna frame, but that I thought I'd show you anyways and talk about how I'm gonna finish them. My cat is playing with a D10, so hopefully that's not too annoying. Anyways, This is the 2024 Holiday Countdown Sal, which is a collaboration between Evertote, Roxy Flosscoat, and Modern Folk Embroidery. I just got the chart and stitched it on some 18 count navy Aida with some DMC floss, and I think I did 1 strand over 1, and yeah, that's what that looks like. I think this one I'm going to make it into a project bag is my plan, but I need to see if I have some fabric to do that with and figure out what the dimensions of that are going to be. But yeah, I think that this would make a good project bag panel. Here's a cute little ornament that I stitched. This is a pattern called Nordic Nutcracker by Tiny Modernist. It's actually not the full pattern. The full pattern has some stuff around this little nutcracker, but I decided just to stitch him. And this is funny because my mom actually stitched me the full chart of this guy for Christmas as a Christmas gift this year. So I have 2 little Nordic nutcrackers, so I think that's fine. This guy will get turned into an ornament for my tree, and the other one is in a little frame. So yeah, and they're different colors. My mom did a different, like a color conversion on hers. This is just some kind of natural linen. I'm pretty sure it's a 32 count, and I stitched it 2 over 2. It's so cute. Look at those little French knot eyeballs and those teeth. Cutie. So yeah, this will be just a Christmas ornament. Here's another Christmas ornament. This is part of a little series, a stitch along by Lola Crow from a couple years ago, 2023, I believe. I can't remember the whole name of it. Spooky Victorian Christmas something something. Anyways, this is one of several, 6 I think, patterns that were released for that. I stitched it. This is a 40 count, one of those printed Zweigart linens. And I stitched with the DMC floss, 1 strand over 2 on this 40 count. These little pieces remind me of the Netherlands because I brought them with me and was stitching on this one in particular while I was traveling to Utrecht in the Netherlands for a conference in 2023 in November. So that's that one. It's going to be a little ornament. Here's another one of those, a little spooky house with a spooky ghostie in the window and a spooky cat ghostie waiting to get in, and some cute little bats. Love it. Same fabric. And this is the 3rd one of those that I did stitch. A little Christmas tree with some skulls being decorated by a murder of crows. How cute. I love it. Okay, next up I've got a bunch of these little smalls that were part of the Stitch for Pride stitch along last year in 2024. There's 2 different fabrics that these are stitched on. They're both 36 count. They're both from a sewingshop.ca. This one is called Avocado Toast. This floss is a Brennan Nettle floss, which I can't remember the name of. I've stitched it 1 over 2. My plan for these is to do a hem stitch around them and just kind of like pin them to my cork board in my office at work. Either one at a time, replacing them periodically, or find a spot for all of them. But there's that one. I can't remember the names of all the artists, I'm so sorry, but each one of these was inspired by a LGBTQ artist. And those patterns were accompanied by like some learning materials about each of those artists. And yeah, really great stitch along. There's a 2025 version going on now as well. And yeah, if you keep your eye out, maybe there'll be one for 2026 that you could join. Here is another one of those, again on the Avocado Toast linen. This maybe is a Roxy floss. I think. Another avocado toast Stitch for Pride piece. That's just a DMC thread, 1/2. Okay, here's another Stitch for Pride. This is on the other linen. It is called Throwback. Loved stitching this. I just used DMC thread. I used 2 or 3 different colors and just alternated colors between strands to give it that sort of variegated look that it has. Here's another one on Throwback. Again, 1/2. This is just a DMC floss. And yet again on Throwback with DMC floss, 1/2. Like this one, it was fun to stitch. I think this was the first one. This one is a tiny bit wrinkly, but this was my blessing sampler from this year by Heartstring Samplery, Brave New Year. And yeah, I stitched this in January this year. The fabric is Fiber on a Whim, 32 count, I believe. Can't remember the name at the moment. I stitched this with DMC thread 1/2. And I think this one I'm going to make into a little pillow, I think. All right, here's the first Evertote Roxy Floss Modern Folk Embroidery countdown sale. I think it was the first one that they did, and it's definitely the first one that I did. It's a little Frisian band sampler. Again, I just got the chart that year and used my own DMC threads. This is stitched on an Ada 18 count, 16 count, not sure, but it is Parchment by Fiber on a Whim. And I think I'm gonna do a project bag with this one as well. And that's that. Here we have the teacups pattern. Antique Cups and Spoons is what I believe it's called. This is by Shakespeare's Peddler. I stitched that in 2024. And I stitched it on a 36 count Roxy Floss Co linen. This is a one of a kind. It's really, really beautiful. Got that at the first year that I went to Stitch North in 2024. And I am using, or I used this Brennan Nettle floss that I also got there. I love this floss. We have seen one other piece already in this little parade using this floss, but it's really cool. And that I'm going to finish. I have this little wooden plaque that I'm going to finish this on, but I need to stain the plaque, so I need to find some wood stain to use. That's that one. Okay, so this is something that I have never shown on my YouTube channel before. I stitched it probably like 15 years ago or something. And I created this little pattern myself. And I just found it recently while I was going through some stuff. And I think maybe, well, this one I may frame actually. I may find a little frame for this. But it's a little comic strip. Look, it's like these two birdies. And one is like, hey, you look a little cross. And then they're just like staring at each other. No response. And the bluebird's like, get it, cross? And the green bird says, yeah, I'm in stitches. So, I don't know. I just thought that was kind of cool. I think it's an 18 count. Looks like I stitched it one strand over two. And yeah, I designed that myself. Isn't that cool? I think it's cool. All right. That's it. That's all my finished stitches that haven't been turned into anything. It is like a focus of mine this year now, I believe, to start getting some fully finishes done. I don't want to keep piling up these finished stitches and never make use of them, because then what is the point of continuing to stitch more things, like if I'm never using them, right? So let's see what I can do. I'm going to take measurements of the ones I want to frame. I'm going to go to IKEA and see if I can find any frames there that will work. All right, see you later.
Okay, so as you saw in that video, one of my goals is to fully finish some of those many cross stitch pieces that I have finished the stitching on but haven't made into an object yet. That was the whole point of getting them out and measuring them. And so I have finished fully finished 2 of those items. So I'll show you those now. The first one that I'll show you is this toy shop piece. So I just got a black square frame from Michaels. I haven't put the glass in here. I've kept the glass off. That allows me to fit everything into the frame. And yeah, that's what that looks like. It's a little hard to see, but it's just like a shiny, very plain black frame. And I think it looks great. I've had it up on my mantle here since framing it, but really it's a Christmas piece, so I'll probably put it away now and pull it back out later in the year, towards the winter time. And yeah, so that's what it's looking like. This piece is a little strange because the bottom edge isn't squared off. So I think it's meant to look like there's kind of snow down there. And so I did decide to frame it so that the margin at the top is the same as the margin at the sides, which means that it's actually not fully centered. So there's more space down here at the bottom. But I like the way it looks, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I think I like that better than if I had pushed it down and had different margins on the top than on the sides. So that is my Toy Shop FFO. And I also managed to finish Black Butterfly Sampler. It's gonna be hard because this one does have a covering. This is an IKEA frame, and so it's not glass, it's actually like a plastic that's in here. But yeah, I found this frame just at IKEA, and I think it fits this piece pretty well. The margins are not quite the same on the top and the sides, top and bottom versus the sides, but I think it looks good. So again, just a very simple black frame, but this is like pretty deep. If you're interested, I can let you know. This is a Rodalm frame. You can get them in all kinds of different colors and sizes, and fairly cheap at IKEA. So this is one of the frames that I got that day when I filmed that clip that you just saw with all my finishes. And so that's Black Butterfly Sampler, fully finished, and it's hanging up on my wall right here in my living room. I love this piece. So since all of that, I have had another finish. So this is Beekeeper's Pincushion by Modern Folk Embroidery. And this is something I've been working on for a little while. You've seen it in a few of my most recent videos, but it is now done. So I haven't fully finished it yet. I think this one I'm going to make into a little pillow. But yeah, I stitched on this. I stitched on it a little bit at Stitch North. As you saw, I brought this with me to Toronto, but didn't actually stitch on it much because I was focused on Abalonia's apple tree. But then I also recently in June had a trip to Saskatoon, and that was for a conference, and I brought this with me and stitched on a little bit that week. And then when I got back, just like hunkered down and finished stitching this. So this fabric is a 36 count one-of-a-kind linen from Roxy Floss Co. And I stitched this with a Brennan Nettle thread, 1 strand over 2 on this 36 count fabric. The fabric is a one-of-a-kind dye, and I can't remember the name of the floss, but it's this really beautiful sort of mustardy golden yellow with some pink, vintage rose variegation in it. I had to stitch that beehive fully twice because the first time I messed up and put an extra stitch in this door, and so I got all the way to the top of the beehive only to realize that it wasn't gonna match up the way it should, so I had to frog that all out and restitch it. But yeah, really happy with this cute little piece. This is a piece that a pattern that my mom got me the first year we went to Stitch North in 2024. And yeah, it reminds me of my Grampy, who for a while was keeping bees. So whenever I stitch a bee pattern, it makes me think of him. So yeah, that is a beekeeper's pincushion, a pattern by Modern Folk Embroidery, in case I forgot to say that. So that is all done. Okay, so next up I would like to give you an update on my progress on mini African mammals. This is my current full coverage focus. It's a chart by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the art is by Ciro Marchetti. I'll give you some footage here of what it looked like the last time that you saw it. At that point, I had 18.36% complete, and I had done 13,843 stitches. I didn't work on this project at all in May, but I did work on it in June. And so I kind of, up until this point this year, I haven't had any like set goals for this project, like how many stitches per month I want to do. But because I didn't stitch on it at all in May, maybe, or for whatever other reason, I decided I wanted to kind of solidify some goals a little more concretely. So I decided that a reasonable amount, like a reasonable goal for me, would be to stitch 2,000 stitches per month on this piece. And so that's what I tried to do in June. And here is what it's looking like right now. So I am now at 21.02%, so we cracked the 20% mark on this piece, and I've stitched 15,852 stitches, which is 2,009 stitches more than the last time. So in June I did hit that 2,000 stitch goal that I had. So it's coming along really great. I also changed the method that I was stitching this, which you might be able to see. There's all these sort of speckly stitches over here. So before I was stitching in 10 stitch columns and parking. So you can see all those parked threads that are still there. But for some reason, I just thought, I don't want to do that anymore. Just the way that this pattern works, sometimes it just, you know, the stitches want to go a different way. So now what I'm doing is I'm still kind of stitching in those 10 by 10 or 10 width columns. So I'm going up, where are we? Here to the topmost stitch within this 10 stitch wide column, picking up the next available thread. But I'm just stitching it kind of wherever it goes nearby, and going down that way, and I am stitching in the parked threads as they come. So I'm going to try that method for a little while. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. What ends up, I think it's faster. I'm getting more stitches in the amounts of time that I'm stitching. So I think it is faster to stitch this way. But one thing that's tricky is that it distributes your progress across a bigger area. So it is a little less easy to see the progress that you're making. But some cool stuff is happening. Like you can see here, this lion's eye is starting to form. So that's kind of, I don't know, it's interesting. We'll see how I like it. But for now, I'm going to keep going with that method on this piece. So this is on a 25 count Easy Grid Lugana. I'm stitching with 2 strands of DMC thread over 1 10 stitch or half stitches, half cross. And that's what it's looking like. So I've also put some work this month in June into Ragnarok by Long Dog Samplers. Here is what that pattern was looking like the last time you saw it. I was at 1.78% and I had stitched 1,143 stitches at that time. And this is a restart, so I used to have more than that done, but that's how much I was at on my restart the last time. Here's what it's looking like now. So I now have 3.63%, and I've stitched 2,334 stitches on this, which is a total of 1,191 stitches since the last video. So this is coming along really well. As a reminder, this is a 40 count beekeeper linen from Roxy Floss Co. I think that's the name. And I am stitching this with a green DMC thread. I'm stitching with 1 strand of thread over 2 fabric threads on this 40 count yellowy linen. Really enjoying this piece still. I'm so glad that I swapped out from the materials I was using before, and I'm still not quite up to where I was last time, but we're getting there. And just like I set myself a monthly goal for mini African mammals, I also set myself a monthly goal for Ragnarok. My goal for this one is to stitch about 1,000 stitches a month, which is what I did in June. So that's gonna make sure that I'm getting some progress done on these like bigger projects that I have. So that I'm continuing to move forward with them. This is because I'm really in sort of like a finishing mood, and so I don't want to completely ignore these while getting my finishes in. So 2,000 stitches a month on my African mammals and 1,000 stitches a month on Ragnarok. And then I'm like stopping so that I don't continue to just like spend a whole bunch of time working on these bigger pieces, but that they do get some progress. Okay, so that is Ragnarok. I also made a little bit of progress on my Arctic Animals Sal by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Here is what it looked like the last time that you saw it. And ooh, my thread is a little crazy. I'm like halfway through a stitch. That's cool. Here's what it's looking like now. So really all I've done is pulled down that side border and started on this polar bear. But yeah, still slowly plugging away at this piece. This is probably one of the next ones that I would like to get finished because I've been working on it for some time. I'm pretty sure the sale is just over now. So time to get focusing on this and get it off my whip list. But yeah, it's a really fun pattern. I'm stitching this in hand. So to get some practice doing that. And yeah, that's my progress. This is a 25 count even weave Lugana that I hand dyed myself. And I'm just stitching it with the called for DMC thread from Frosted Pumpkin. All right, the next project that I have an update on is Ophelia. This is a chart by Mirabilia, and I'll give you a look at what it looked like the last time you saw it. And here is what it's looking like now. So I've made some really good progress on this. I've been stitching the bottom half of the pattern here. I got in all these beautiful little water lilies. And I also have some footage that I can put in here of the full piece out of this Q-snap This will be before I had done some of this stitching, but I was moving the Q-snap, and so I took a little video of what the whole thing looks like so you can see that. But yeah, this is coming along really well. As for my goals, my monthly goals, I don't have a specific number of stitches that I want to get on Ophelia every month, but I do want to make sure that I do some stitching on her, so it's just like a check, like, have I stitched on Ophelia? But I don't find it very hard to get a lot of stitches in on this. It's just like a really fun pattern to work on. So yeah, these lily pads were really fun. And I've also gotten a lot of work done in the dress here as well. So that is my progress on Ophelia. I'm really looking forward to getting the stitching done and doing the rest of the beads. I did a few beads up here, but yeah, generally you leave the beads to the end. So waiting till I'm done the stitching to finish the beading. And that's Ophelia. So the last thing I want to show you for my current stuff that I've worked on is a new start. This pattern is called Flowers for You by Jeanette Douglas. This is one of the patterns that I won at Stitch North. I won like a pack of Jeanette Douglas patterns. So it says, there are always flowers for those who wish to see them. And so when I finished my Beekeeper's pincushion, I decided to start another sort of small Stitch North pattern. And this is the one that I started. And the reason that I chose it, I think, is because I had also purchased this Roxy Floss Co. linen at Stitch North. This is a 36 count linen. I don't know the name of the colorway because it was just one of the little like pre-cut pieces that they had in a box at their booth, and they did not have the colors listed. It's actually a little bit hard to see, but that whole flower is done. Yeah, the pink that outlines the flower is very close in color to the fabric, so it's a little ghosty, but I can see it in person fairly well, so I don't mind. But yeah, I finished that middle flower vase. So 2 more flower vases, a border, and some letters to go on that one. I'm just using some DMC floss. The pattern has like a DMC conversion in there, and I used mostly that DMC conversion plus some swaps based on colors that I didn't have in stash. So that is my start on Flowers for You by Jeanette Douglas. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about is my plans for the month of July and a new start that I will have. So, as I've been mentioning throughout the video, my goal will be to do 2,000 stitches on Mini African Mammals, 1,000 stitches on Ragnarok, do some stitching on Ophelia. And then another goal that I have now monthly is to fully finish at least one thing. So I'm not sure what that will be yet, but I'll hope to have another FFO by my next video, and to finish stitching a small. So I feel like the 2 candidates for that are either Flowers for You or finishing up my Arctic Animals. I'm not sure, we'll see. Or hopefully starting and finishing this Jim Shore Mushroom Gnome by Mill Hill. So I bought 3 of these little charts, and I gave one of them to my friend Julia, and I gave one of them to my mom. And I suggested that we could do like a Christmas in July stitch along with these. So we're gonna start together on the 1st of July, stitching these cute little ornaments. So mine is the Mushroom Gnome. My mom is stitching the Acorn Gnome, and Julia is stitching the Rabbit Gnome. So that's all ready to go. I sorted all of the floss yesterday which was sort of a pain because there's a lot of very similar colors in this. You can see that they were a little tricky to sort, but I made it, and I also lost a couple of the threads partway through the sorting process, so I thought that I was missing some threads, but then I found them later. Anyway, so that's all ready to go. And another thing that I have that I'm excited to try out with this project is this. It's called a tacky bill. I've seen people using these for beading before. So you just open it up and this inside is sticky. So the idea is that you pour your beads onto this tacky bill and they stick there well enough to not roll around and get lost. But then you can just sort of pick them up with your needle and bead from here. I got this. There was a cross stitch retreat here in Halifax in June. I thought about going, but ended up deciding not to. But then when the retreat was going on, they posted on the Facebook page saying that the little shop that had been set up there, the little pop-up shop, was open to whoever. So Julia and I went. It was the Quiltery. This is a shop from Riverview, New Brunswick, that I've never been to. Oop, there we go. It looks like they have an online shop as well, and they had a lot of cross-stitch supplies, so definitely recommend checking that out if you haven't heard of it. But yeah, I picked up this tacky bill there, so that was really cool. Another thing I picked up was this. This is a snag nabbit. And this is another tool that I've heard about on other people's videos that is really useful for fixing little snags on your fabric. I used it on Ophelia. There was just like a little floss end sticking up out through the front of the fabric. And yeah, you just like push that through the fabric and pull it through. I took a little video of that, so hopefully I'm putting that here. I'm not sure how easy it is to see what's actually going on because it's very close up. But yeah, it just like pulled those threads down through the fabric and sort of fixed that little snag. So a couple cute little tools that I picked up. Yeah, so that is about it for today. Hey there, this is Editing Kate. I realized while I was editing this video that I forgot to update you about the winner of the giveaway that I had in my last video. So I was giving away a kit of my Stitch North Goose chart. I just did the random comment picker, and Sylvie Thibodeau 4308, you have won. I'm going to comment on your comment from my last video to let you know about this, but just send me an email and we'll figure out how to get that little kit to you. All right, back to your regularly scheduled video. I hope to be back towards the end of July to update you on how my stitching went in July, update you on my Christmas in July gnome progress. Maybe Mom and Julia will send along some photos as well so I can share those. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and hope that you are having a lovely summertime, if it is summertime where you are. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one.